Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, as fine as spun gold.
Welcome to the first story in our cave. Tonight we open the pages of something old, something almost forgotten. This is not the version you think you know. This is the original tale from the Grimm's fairy tales. The story of the lost princess. A girl hidden from the world. A tower that touches the sky. And a fate far darker than the one we were told as children. If you think you know Rapunzel, then watch this video.
Once upon a time, a man and a woman had wished for a child, for many, many years. At last, it seemed their wish would finally come true. Their house had a little window in the back that looked out over a beautiful garden full of flowers and herbs. But the garden was surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared go inside because it belonged to a powerful enchantress whom everyone feared. One day the woman was standing at the window, looking down into the garden, when she noticed a patch planted with the most beautiful Rapunzel lettuce. It looked so fresh and so green that she longed to taste it. Day after day, her craving grew stronger. And since she knew she could never have any, she grew pale and miserable. Her husband was alarmed. "What is wrong, dear wife?" he asked. "Oh," she said, "if I cannot have some of that Rapunzel from the garden behind our house, I think I will die." The man loved his wife dearly, and he thought, rather than let her die, I will get her some of that Rapunzel, no matter what it costs me. So that evening at twilight, he climbed over the wall into the enchantress's garden. He quickly grabbed a handful of Rapunzel and brought it back to his wife. She made a salad from it right away and ate it hungrily. But she liked it so much that the next day her craving was 3 times stronger. If he wanted any peace, her husband would have to climb into the garden again. So, in the dim evening light, he lowered himself over the wall once more. But when he reached the ground, he froze in fear, for the enchantress was standing right in front of him. "How dare you," she said, with an angry look, "climb into my garden and steal my Rapunzel like a thief? You will pay for this." "Please," he begged, "have mercy. I only did it because my wife saw your Rapunzel from our window and wanted it so badly that she would have died without it." The enchantress let her anger soften a little. "If what you say is true," she said, "then you may take as much Rapunzel as you want. But there is one condition. You must give me the child your wife is about to bring into the world. I will take good care of it and look after it like a mother." The man was so frightened that he agreed to everything. And when the baby was born, the enchantress appeared at once. She named the child Rapunzel and took her away. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child anyone had ever seen. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress locked her in a tower, deep in the forest. The tower had no stairs and no door, only a small window at the very top. Whenever the enchantress wanted to come in, she would stand below and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, as fine as spun gold. When she heard the enchantress's voice, she would unfasten her braids, loop them around a hook by the window, and let her hair tumble all the way down, 20 feet or more, so the enchantress could climb up. A year or 2 passed. One day, a prince was riding through the forest when he came near the tower. He heard someone singing, and the song was so lovely that he stopped to listen. It was Rapunzel, who passed her lonely days by letting her sweet voice ring out. The prince wanted to climb up to her, but when he looked for a door, there was none to be found. He rode home, but the singing had touched his heart so deeply that he returned to the forest every day just to listen. One evening, while standing behind a tree, he watched the enchantress arrive. He heard her call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel let her braids fall, and the enchantress climbed up. "So that is the ladder," the prince said to himself. "Then I will try my luck too." The next evening, as darkness fell, he went to the tower and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." At once the hair came tumbling down, and the prince climbed up. Rapunzel was terrified at first. She had never seen a man before. But the prince spoke to her gently, like a friend. He told her that her singing had moved him so deeply that he had to meet her. Rapunzel's fear melted away. When he asked if she would marry him, and she saw that he was young and kind, she thought, "He will love me more than old Dame Gothel does." So she said yes, and placed her hand in his. "I want to leave with you," she said, "but I don't know how to get down. Each time you visit, bring me a strand of silk, and I will weave a ladder. When it is finished, I will climb down, and you can carry me away on your horse." They agreed that he would come every evening, since the enchantress came during the day. The enchantress noticed nothing, until one day, Rapunzel accidentally said, "Tell me, Dame Gothel, why are you so much heavier to pull up than the young prince? He is up here in no time." "You wicked child," the enchantress cried. "I thought I had hidden you from the whole world, and yet you have tricked me." In her fury, she grabbed Rapunzel's beautiful hair, wrapped it around her left hand, snatched up a pair of scissors with the right, and snip, snap, cut it all off. The lovely braids fell to the floor. Then, without a shred of pity, the enchantress sent poor Rapunzel away to a lonely wilderness, where she had to live in great sadness and hardship. That same evening, the enchantress fastened the cut braids to the window hook. When the prince came and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she let the hair down. The prince climbed up, but instead of his dear Rapunzel, he found the enchantress, glaring at him with hateful eyes. "So," she cried, mocking him, "you have come for your darling, but the beautiful bird has flown from the nest. The cat has caught her, and now it will scratch out your eyes too. You will never see Rapunzel again." The prince was overcome with grief, and in his despair, he leaped from the tower. He survived the fall, but the thorns below pierced his eyes and blinded him. He wandered through the forest, blind and heartbroken, eating nothing but roots and berries, weeping over the loss of his dear wife. For years he roamed in misery, until at last he came to the wilderness where Rapunzel was living, with the twins, a boy and a girl, she had given birth to. He heard a voice, and it sounded so familiar that he stumbled toward it. When he drew near, Rapunzel recognized him. She threw her arms around his neck and wept. 2 of her tears fell on his eyes, and suddenly they grew clear again. He could see as well as ever. He led her to his kingdom, where they were welcomed with great joy, and they lived happily together for the rest of their days.
And so our story comes to an end. This was the first tale in our cave, a place where stories are not just told, but brought to life. Here we will journey through the stories of classic literature, modern tales, fantasy, and forgotten fairy tales, all illustrated just like this. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and share the video if you'd like to support us. Until our next story, stay curious and keep listening.